Do you want to make your own in-game renders like the ones used in this type of thumbnail? If so, then Mannequin is the mod for you. This new NPC posing mod, developed by Cublem and Strafe, makes creating your own in-game renders easier than ever before. I'll show you how to use it. So to start off, you're going to want to summon a mannequin. These are the NPCs that you'll use to pose. You can use a mannequin spawn egg, as well as the command on screen. To begin editing it, you can simply right-click the mannequin anywhere. It'll then bring up this menu. From here, we've got a lot of options, but they're a lot simpler than they seem. Starting off with your name, you can name this whatever you want. I'll do test. And we have 4 tabs: pose, skins, models, and presets. I'll go over them one by one. I'll start with skins, as most of you probably want to give your mannequins custom skins. To do so, you can browse for skin file, which will open your file explorer and you can find your .png. But something cool about this mod is that you can summon skins using just a URL. If I search up namemc.com and navigate to the website, this is a website for name and skin lookups, I can search the name of any player. Let's do Mumbo Jumbo, for example. I'll hit enter, and it will take me to their page. From here, I can select any one of their publicly available skins, and I'll right-click this download icon. I'll then click Copy Link Address. With my copied link, I can simply paste it into my URL slot using Ctrl-V, and hit Apply URL. As you can see, the skin has now changed to whatever skin you decided to paste. And as we can see, if I decide to use a slim model skin, it updates without us needing to change anything. For the sake of this tutorial, I'll just use my skin. Moving along, the Models tab. This tab controls the actual type of model you have, for example if it's a mob or a player or something like that, and it currently supports every entity in the game. If I wanted to make my model an ally, I can make my model an ally just by clicking on it. The mod is still very new, and know that this is an intended feature. For now, I'll stick to my player model. Our presets tab is something that I'll come back to after we do our posing, as that's required for it. Anyway, for our posing tab, we have our selection, where you can select any part of the body, or root to select the whole thing. You can also select the whole body by shift left clicking. Anyway, now we have our rotation and position, which rotate and position the character. However, what is definitely most cool with this mod is that you don't need to use these sliders like some other mods. However, you don't need to use these here to move your model, and that is due to one of the coolest features of this mod. First off, let's hit F8 on our keyboards. This opens our config screen, where you can configure keybinds, camera, and display settings. You can find most of what you need here, and looking at toggle gizmo mode, we see that R is our key. So we'll click R to access our axis. Clicking R summons these arrows, and clicking R again summons these circles. R another time disables it. I can use these arrows to move parts of my model, or if I click off and shift left click, my entire model. Something to note here is if you make a mistake, you can Ctrl Z to undo it, and if you'd like to redo it, Ctrl Y. Anyway, we can move the model however we like, bring the arm out, hit R again for our rotation, and maybe make a nice design, like that. It's okay. Moving along, we have our Scale tab. This is a slider that simply changes the scale of your character. You can be as small as this, or as big as this. You can't reset it, so just make sure you know that your default is 1. Like that. You can't scale individual parts of your body as far as I know, so no big heads unfortunately. It changes the whole thing. Not sure when you really need that though. Moving along to snapping, this refers to the rotation and position. If I turn on move snap and change the value to 1 for example, when I shift click and try to move my model, we'll see that every increment is a 1 block change. If I make this 2, every increment will be a 2 block change. So it gives you some more control. Same goes for rotate snap. Now this is degrees and not blocks, so say I'll do 45 degrees and try to rotate. Every increment is a 45 degree turn. As I said, this might be nice if you'd like a little more control. I'll turn these off for now though. Moving along to the state section, we can make the character sneak. We can make the character hurt, so you get the red outline, and this does apply to everything, it's just that I have that selected. And you can make the character breathe. I guess this would be more useful for animations, and this is more of a image mod, but it's cool nonetheless. It gives you like a natural look. I'll turn it off for now. We then have our Show Actions tab, where we have a whole bunch of options. Starting off with Reset Part, if I have my arm selected for example, and I reset it, it'll reset the arm. Now say I move a lot of my parts here. Say we'll do this, click off, do this, and I want to change it back to normal. I'll click Reset All, and it does just that. Now say I want to put the same pose on two different characters. I'll right click and click Copy Part. And on my other character, I can right click their arm and click Paste Part. There we go. Now say I want to copy a whole pose with a whole bunch of different parts. For example, something like this. I'll right click, copy pose, and I can paste the pose on another mannequin. Now say I want two parts to mirror each other. Like I made a nice design for one and I want it to be the same on the other side. I'll right click the part and mirror part. Now say I'd like to flip the pose, do what I did on one side to the other instead. I can right click and mirror pose. It'll reverse it. We also have the live mirror option. When it is turned on, everything I do on one side will automatically be reflected to the other. Duplicating the mannequin is also an option. Say I move a pose like this, and I'd like to duplicate the mannequin. Duplicate will duplicate the skin, model type, as well as any poses. Delete the mannequin is self-explanatory, and so is Face Player. I can also enable No Shadow to remove the shadow below them. You can also lock your models, but just be careful, once you lock them, you'll need to use a keybind to bring them back. To do so, we'll just look at F8, and we'll see that our unlock is Ctrl L. Of course, you can rebind these. Now as for setting the model up with some armor or items, we can do that too. Let's grab ourselves a netherite helmet, as well as a netherite axe. To equip the model with the helmet, I'll hold the helmet and click Helmet. And to equip it with the axe, I'll hold the axe and click Main Hand. Now say I want to give the netherite helmet to the offhand of the model. I can do just that. And it works. Now of course all poses will include everything you've added. Now say I have this going on, a pose with some items and a skin. I can save this preset for later by right clicking and going to presets. I'll simply name the preset, I'll say netherite, and I can save it. This saves a preset that I can put on any mannequin. And that's pretty much it for posing. Now we'll move on to rendering. But before doing so, I'd like to go over the overlay. If you hit O on your keyboard, it'll open Overlays and Scene. From here, you have the option of a lot of different overlays. For example, the rule of thirds, the center cross, diagonals, the golden ratio, safe zones, and 2 letterbox. You can also have full bright NPCs and force render all. I haven't a clue what force render all does, but full bright NPCs is pretty self-explanatory. You also have the option to lock and unlock your sun, and specifically place it wherever you'd like. You can freeze the clouds, change their height, change their scale, change their rotation. Ooh, that's cool. I like that. And if you look over here, you can also hide grass and flowers. Something interesting is that you can apply potion effects to these mannequins, and you can also freeze particles, as well as hide them. But anyway, to actually get your image, hit V to enter camera mode. And of course, if we hit F8, we can configure some camera settings. I won't really touch this, but you can if you'd like. Here in your camera, you can hit Q and E to rotate it, maybe get like a nice side shot, and Control R to reset the rotation. But when you're ready to take a photo, hit F7. This will bring up your render export screen. You have the option to render it vanilla, which will give you your image as is, but you've got a couple of options that look like this: entities only, entity mask, geometry normals, geometry advanced normals, no sky, blocks only, sky only, depth map, and no shading. Now I'm gonna be real, I don't know what a lot of this means, but if you'd like to know, you can search it up in your own time and find the definitions of whatever geometry normals is. I'm sure it's useful for someone smarter than me. You do have the option to use anti-aliasing, 2x SSAA or 4x. You can also select your resolution. Window does whatever your current game window size is, but you can also specify 720p, 1080p, 1440p, or 4K. I'll leave it window. And you can change your folder, open the folder this will export to, and cancel. I'll go ahead and export. After some time, it'll show you that it has been saved. Now you can take your image into an editing software and go ham with it. But that's all for today. I hope this video helped you, and I thank you for watching.